Okay, so my name is Dawn, and we're going to be making some trees today. Right now I'm doing the outline and filling it in, making sure to make it all organic and not straight. Trees aren't perfect at all. Normally I use a light greenish brown color because it's more natural than actual brown. Trees aren't actually brown, they're more of a olive type color. I do a lot of wavy lines for the bark texture. I don't just do straight lines. So I'm doing highlights right now, more highlights. I'm doing some moss colored stuff to add some real texture and such. One thing that I actually do notice a lot about people's backgrounds is they tend to put random meadows in forests, and I did that for the longest time, but I realize now that there are no random meadows in forests, and it's actually leaf covered. So when you draw forest trees, you want to make sure that you actually have leaves, not grass. And the best way to achieve that is doing a bunch of different colors, mostly reds and oranges, but do some grays and yellows and just you can see all the colors that I'm using right there. And instead of doing grass, just do circles and little bits of grass, and you have underbrush, which looks nicer and more realistic. It's not that hard to make, really. I mean, I know this is going fast, but I was actually going fast while doing that. It's not hard. And then you can add more, just keep adding more to it as you go along. You'll realize mistakes that you made, like right here I realize I do not like that part of that tree. It looks too groovy and not, needed to be flattened out a bit more. So I went back and I changed it, and after I'm finished, I liked it better. So don't be afraid of going back in and redoing things. You tend to like it more. Now I'm doing another tree. When I actually do branches and stuff, I normally start from the top. Especially if it's going to be a really curvy tree. So, and then I'm going to do this one on a cliff, so I can show you how I do rocks. So I'm going to do all that. And there's the rock. Draw some ground around there too. Give you an idea. And go in and do the bark shading. Another thing you really should keep in mind when doing trees is a light source. Light sources are amazing. They make things very much realistic. So for the trunk it was to the left, and then for this one it's going to be to the right. So I'm putting highlights on the right side this time. And doing moss. More moss. And then leaves. When you do leaves, make sure you keep them in a horizontal pattern. You see I'm not doing a lot of up and down, I'm just doing across. That's actually the natural pattern of how leaves grow if you look on trees, is mostly horizontal. So if you keep it like that, it'll look more realistic, and just keep to the... Don't constrict yourself to the branches that you already made. Put some other small bunches of leaves everywhere. Also, when you're shading your leaves, use blue-greens for darker shades and yellow-greens for lighter shades, because that's actually how a lot of trees are shaded. I mean, there are exceptions, but that's the rule of thumb that I always use. Another good rule of thumb is never have a single hue in anything. Always have multiple hues. Like for that rock, I'm using purple to shade it, and like a slate bluish gray, and tans to shade it and add value to it, and it obviously looks a lot better than if I had just used the grays. It looks more realistic and lifelike and has lots of pretty colors in it and all that kind of good stuff. going in and doing some detail work and adding the leaves on the ground, which are just lines. And the underbrush, always nice. Add some variety to the ground. Nice color contrast, the reds and the green. Some complementary colors. And now another tree. We're gonna go for a colorful tree this time. So when the tree is mostly straight, I normally do this trunk of it first, and then branch out with the branches, no pun intended. Some branches point down, some branches point up. So, and don't be afraid to overlap your branches, because branches don't care if they get in other branches' bubble space, because branches don't have bubble spaces. So, I was gonna do ground, but then I decided, no, I'm gonna do brush. It's gonna be a thick brushed, like kind of like the picture. So, I'm doing the leaves now. When you're doing a really full tree, what I like to do is have low occupancy and soft brush and just go in with a really dark color and just do the base color first, and then I'll start adding the lighter colors with a harder, smaller brush, and I'll actually get a leafy texture to it. What I'm doing right now, I'm going in with a lighter red, and after that I'll go in with right now, the orange. Really get that leafy texture and the bright colors in there, and just keep getting lighter and lighter, and just keep going. Don't be afraid to add too much contrast, because contrast makes the world go round. And for those who don't know, contrast is the difference between light and dark in a picture. So if you have black and white instead of grays, you have a high contrast picture. So adding more shades, more colors, more pretty colors, always good. And the underbrush. So, really all this is scribbles. I'm telling you, organized scribbles. They're not that hard. I was whipping these out in about 15 to 22 minutes for each tree. So it took longer for it to actually put this together than to actually draw these trees. But figured you guys would like to see them. And once again, don't be afraid to overlap your branches. Branches don't have bubble spaces. So just draw branches. This is going to be a pine tree. Figured that would be different. And I'm not very good at pine trees. I'm just started really drawing them, so I mean, I think it actually turned out fairly well at the end, but this is obviously not the only way you can draw a pine tree. Drawing the bark, 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 bark. Now I get to do the needles. And all the needles are is like a dark green and a really small brush, fairly hard but still a little bit soft, and just adding like tick marks everywhere, really close together. Not really scribbles so they're all connected. Try to keep them not connected, since actual pine needles aren't that connected, like scribble connected. So they're not folded pieces of paper. And just kept adding them. Make sure not to just put them on the sides, make sure to have them in the middle as well. So I do that in a little bit. There we go. Fill in the middle of it. And add some value, and that helps fill them in even more. So it's not just one color. Different colors are your friends. On the ground, leaves, more leaves, and detail.